Okay, so now that Paul W.S. Anderson's his Resident Evil franchise has come to its final conclusion with Resident Evil, the final chapter, I kind of wanted to look at my own kind of opinion on who they could have actually got to bring the Resident Evil franchise to the big screen. We all know that George A. Romero, Zombie King, was first announced as the Resident Evil director way back in 1998, and of course, Capcom, they didn't like his script and they wanted to go for something new, more original and more fresh, a more fresh take on their franchise. And that, of course, led to Paul W.S. Anderson bringing the Resident Evil movie to the big screen. Now, I always wondered to myself, why didn't they go for another horror icon to bring the Resident Evil franchise to the big screen? And I myself think that the likes of Wes Craven would have been actually great for a Resident Evil movie. I know what you're thinking, Wes Craven, would he have been perfect for the zombie genre? And I say he would have been amazing for a zombie genre. Because Wes Craven, he done it all. He was that type of director who literally done all the subgenres of horror. He was just an amazing horror director, and I still think his shoes are near impossible to fill, because that's what kind of legacy that man left. He's the type of director who's given us kind of criminal home invasion style horror with the likes of The Last House on the Left. He gave us kind of mutant horror with the likes of Hills of Eyes. He gave us kind of Boogeyman, that's nightmare horror with the likes of Nightmare on Elm Street. He gave us, of course, werewolves, which, of course, Cursed. He kind of reinvented kind of the slasher horror for the 90s with, of course, the Scream franchise. He was just a horror director who was a king of all the subgenres of horror. He was just an amazing horror director. And it's just a shame he never got to do a big kind of zombie kind of feature. And I'm going to look at reasons why I feel he would have been amazing for the Resident Evil franchise. Okay, first off, we know that Resident Evil 1 was set in 1998, and Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, they were also set in like 1998. And the first three games, they really embodied that kind of 80s and 90s feel. Many more so than 90s. We had the key card, we had of course, the typewriter, we had the kind of the clothing, the kind of big shoulder pads, the weaponry, the walkie-talkies. All of that was really 90s heavy. And Wes Craven was the king of 90s horror. I mean, Scream was just 90s heavy. So he would have totally embodied that wonderful 90s kind of feeling that we got from the first three Resident Evil games. I also want to bring this up, that Resident Evil has some amazing female protagonists, the likes of course, Jill Valentine, of course, Claire Redfield, and of course, Rebecca Chamber. And they were great female characters, each one strong, determined, and Wes Craven was amazing at bringing female characters to the big screen. I mean, we had Nancy in Nightmare on Elm Street, and she was an amazing character, a character who was strong, determined. She was a character who was very much a very versatile type character, a character who'd really overcome her impossible odds. She was that type of character who was a really fast learner and a character who really evolves, and we see her evolve even in the sequel to Nightmare on Elm Street. And she was a wonderful character, a great character who was fearless throughout as much as possible. And that was mainly because it was Wes Craven who brought this character to the big screen. I'd like to also mention his work with Sidney Prescott in, of course, the Scream franchise. And Sidney was a wonderful character, a character who kind of starts off kind of shyish, a kind of type of character that starts off, that has this kind of troubled past, and she has so much layers to her. She has a lot of just layers to her before we even get a chance to know her. And as we see, as the first movie goes on, we see that she is a really strong character. Through the sequels, we see that she becomes stronger and stronger as the movies go by, and every challenge she faces it front on the front line, and that's what makes her such a great character. I'd also like to mention Gail Weathers. She was a great character, and she was a character who was always level-headed and always a strong character from the get-go. And I think Wes Craven, if he ever had a character like Jill Valentine or Claire Redfield or of course Rebecca Chamber, he would have just honoured those characters. He would have had just a field day with those characters, because these characters were all wonderful, but with the hands of Wes Craven, they would have been absolutely incredible on the big screen. We all know that Resident Evil, the first three, they had this wonderful sense of horror. They had this wonderful pacing to their horror. This idea of building this kind of eerie and kind of real nerve-wracking environment, but also kind of creating this tension that could be lifted and pulled back at any moment. And that was what Wes Craven was king at. He was amazing at creating really intense set pieces, really intense action beats, really intense sequences that were really nerve-wracking, really intense and scary. But he was wonderful at creating tension and pulling it back and then releasing it to his audience at full blast. And he was amazing at that. He done that with the first Scream, the Drew Barrymore sequence. Of course, the opening sequence, the opening act, the opening sequence in that movie, in which the sequence is tense and it's nerve-wracking, and of course the tension goes back and forth, and then it's at its high, and then he pulls back, and of course he releases it again. And he does that with Scream 2 as well, with the sequence with Sarah Michelle Gellar's character. And once again, it's this wonderful release and pull, and a full release of the horror. And that's what was amazing with Wes Craven. He was really able to create this wonderful sense of tension, but pull it back and then release it all the way. And that's what he was key at. And of course, that Resident Evil, the first three, they done that so often, and they just nailed the horror. And Wes Craven would have been perfect for that. He would have embodied the Resident Evil style of horror. I also think Wes Craven would have embodied the sense of urgency, the sense of investigation, the sense of mystery that Resident Evil once had, the sense of unknown, the sense of research, the sense of investigation that was always necessary for Resident Evil. Resident Evil 1, the Spencer Mansion was completely unknown. It was a blank slate. We didn't know what was going on, and of course the characters didn't know what was going on. Of course these zombies start appearing, these BOWs start appearing, and of course the star unit is getting killed left, right and centre, and there's a traitor among them as well. And there was this great sense of mystery going on all the way around the game. And that was one of the most enjoyments of the Resident Evil storyline, was that sense of mystery. And Wes Craven was amazing at doing that in most of his films. He was amazing at creating a sense of mystery. We've seen that with, of course, Nancy, and there was this great sense of mystery of who is this Freddy Krueger character, and how are they getting killed in their dream, and how do we defeat him, and how do we get him out of our dream. And there was this great sense of mystery, there was this great sense of world building, this great sense of almost character development, this great sense of discovery. And we've seen that in Nightmare on Elm Street. We also seen that in the Scream franchise. Of course, there's a series of brutal murders, and of course there's the Ghostface killer, and there's this wonderful sense of mystery and investigation that happens throughout these movies. And that was great. It was absolutely wonderful, because the sense of investigation was sold so well in the Scream franchise. And I think that sense of investigation, that sense of mystery building and discovery and world building and fleshing out characters, all those elements would have been absolutely perfect for a Resident Evil movie, because that's what Resident Evil was. It was always this great big mystery, and that's what made it so engrossing, and that's what made it so interesting, the sense of discovery. And that's what's missing in the Resident Evil movie franchise. And I think Wes Craven would have done a great job with that. And that's just my opinion on Wes Craven. If he was alive, do you think he would have done a great job with the Resident Evil movie franchise? I think he would have done an amazing job, but that's just my opinion. Put down in the comment section below on your opinion on this subject, or how you feel about the Resident Evil movie franchise as it is today, and how you feel about Paul W.S. Anderson's vision, even George A. Romero's vision. Just put it all in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to the channel if you like what you see.